Welcome to Business with the Donos, where we talk about business, family, and everything in between. I'm your host, Jade Dono, and I'm here with my dad, Paul Dono. And this week we're going to be talking about industry events and if they're worth going to. But before we start, we just wanted to say a big thank you to everybody who's listened so far. We've been really, really happy with all the responses that we've got and all the support we've got. And I think we've hit about 85 listeners so far, which was more than we thought we would get. So thank you to everybody that has listened.
Well, we thought we'd get 5, didn't we? Which would be Josh, Mum, Katie, you and me. So that was good.
That was good. 80 more than we thought.
Yes.
And all the team listened as well, which was really, really good.
The team were upset though, weren't they? Because we only mentioned Amy, who started with us, and not. So we're going to have a shout out for James, and I think we'll do this as a bit of a romper room thing. Today through the magic mirror is James.
So, what did you say?
Romper room.
What's a romper room?
Well, people of a certain age would have watched Romper Room and be waiting for their name to be called at the end of it in the magic mirror. I mean, I can't believe you don't even know that.
No, I don't. I don't think I'm of that age. But please, anyone who knows what Dad's talking about, let him know. And
there'll be people here. They'll know.
Okay.
So, James, we can see you through the magic mirror today.
Well done, James. Anyways, back to our weekly topic, are industry events worth it? So this week we went to 2 events in London, back to back. The first one was Advanced Track's leadership event, where we listened to a few talks all about leading people and having a happy team. And then the next one was a big accounting conference that's called Accountex, that's in Excel, which is filled with software stalls basically and full of accountants, which is really fun.
Only for you.
It actually is fun.
Well, it's fun for you because they'll go, "Oh, Jade, I know you. I've heard you on the podcast, Jade."
That's not necessarily true, but we'll talk about Accountex a little bit more in a bit. So, Dad, why do we go to these events?
Well, there is a serious side to going to these events other than you going out for dinner at night. Insofar as, because we are industry leaders and we just want to know what's going on in our industry, what the latest software is, what the latest ideas are. There's still quite a lot of old-fashioned views in our industry. So it's good. There's been a lot of movers and shakers this year. See, TaxCalc took on Engager, which is an interesting one. We had some good talks with our suppliers, particularly with the likes of Carbon. We had a good talk with TaxCalc, Xero, and all the others we use, really. So, yeah, I think it was good.
Yeah, but if you're a small business, not necessarily in accountancy, why would they go to an industry event?
Yeah, so you go to an industry event to know what is available to you now, what support is available to you as well. We go obviously for the software, sometimes CPD points as well. But yeah, you're just keeping up to date. You've got to keep up to date no matter what industry you're in.
Yeah, and I think I would agree. And I think people go for different things. So I know we certainly go to network. We really like to speak to other people in our industry and get some feedback of what's going on. We like to see what software is out there to help our clients as well, but also people go for the talks as well. We're not quite as engaged in the talks, although if there's a really good speaker we might go. But I know a lot of other people who go who have a list of talks they want to go throughout the day, and they get a lot from those, and I think that's what a lot of people go to these events for. And I think certainly for our day one event on leadership, we sat through some really great talks that were quite inspiring. We heard from one of the CEOs of Go Cardless, and she was talking all about how she leads teams, and that was really, really beneficial and full of really good little nuggets that we could take away with us.
Yeah, enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was
and
really
she was
good.
A power lifter.
She was a power lifter.
Yeah.
And she didn't look like super muscly or anything like that, but she was a power lifter. Yeah, that was a really, really good talk, and I think that was my favourite talk of the of the 2 days. But yeah, for a Countex, which is like a big exhibition, the talks were really busy. So we were
really
more
busy.
wanting to talk to people and get those insights from networking.
I think a lesson to be learnt, though, from the fact that it was so busy is that they did send out an email beforehand to say, take your own headphones and tune in so you can hear the talks. Obviously, you and I ignored that. And we should really take the instructions on hand, really, shouldn't we?
We probably should, yeah. Okay. So, I mean, what are the real pros of going to these events, Dad?
Well, it is literally just to see what's going on. I mean, I think from our point of view, we did, when we spoke to people, not necessarily on the stands, but when we spoke to people around the arena and had some good chats, we could see the benefits and what's coming on with AI in particular. And I think we could see that a lot. Kind of felt that the software companies were a little bit slow, or not quite grasped what AI really is and what that can achieve. Maybe it's because it could be a threat for some of the software companies. But, you know, without those talks, we might be 5-6 months late to the show, really. So I think from our point of view, the networking, talking to other accountants, other people in our industry that are of similar size to ourselves, I think that helped a lot.
Yeah, I think so as well. And I think no matter what industry you're in, if you're attending these type of events, it's hard not to get ideas and to be inspired and to see where things are at. And especially with AI making huge waves in every industry, really keeping ahead of that and seeing what's going on is really important, because it is making changes. And I think in one of the talks that we heard this week, they said that today is the slowest pace we'll be at. Tomorrow will be faster. So things are progressing so quickly that you really, really need to stay ahead. And these sorts of events are a way to do that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we can certainly see that. The pace of change is unbelievable.
Yes, it is unbelievable, but it's also such a great opportunity for everybody if you really embrace the changes that are happening. So what are the cons of these events?
The cons of the events. I mean, whilst both events were free.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Oh no, we paid to go to the advanced track one.
Did we?
Yeah,
oh, okay.
It was like £30 each.
Yeah, which I think they donated to charity actually.
I don't know.
Didn't they? Oh, okay. Anyway, but okay, £30 each. But that's not really the investment. The investment is we had 2 hotel rooms.
Yep.
In London.
Yep.
So that was for one night. We went out for dinner, and obviously, Jade, you being you, didn't want to go to McDonald's, so we ended up in a very nice restaurant, didn't we? With a nice bottle of wine, etc. And then the next day, we ended up in a very nice restaurant, but no wine because I was driving.
And I'm trying to be healthy.
Yeah, tube journeys, Uber taxis, etc. So I think probably the investment for us from a financial point of view is probably near £1,000, and that's just for 2 of us.
Yeah. And also our time, if you then take the cost of what it would cost in the business to take us out for 2 days, that's quite substantial as well.
Yeah. But we do, as the industry we're in, we do, you know, I particularly have to do continual professional development, CPD.
Yeah.
So that's 2 days worth of CPD from my point of view, and a really good investment in our business and our clients as well. So I think that works really well.
Yes.
And obviously bought you those blister plasters.
Oh my goodness. That was a con of the events. I was on my feet, obviously, for the 2 days, and I wore the wrong shoes. And my feet hurt so much by the end of the day. I bought blister plasters at the beginning of day 2, but it hurts so much. I can't even tell you. It still hurts wearing my shoes now, and we're 2 days later. So, yeah, take blister plasters or just wear trainers. Put looks to the side and just wear trainers. That.
When you say you can't even tell you mean you can't tell the listener out there, but you told me constantly.
I did, and pretty much everyone I spoke to as well.
Absolutely.
At Accountex. Just in case I had a bit of a grimace on my face and they thought it might be them, because it just wasn't. It was my feet hurting.
Yeah. And I said, why didn't you wear trainers? Because it didn't go in my dress.
Exactly. But I wish I'd have put that aside and worn trainers. Next time I'll know. So one of the cons that I think a lot of business owners say to us when there's a networking event or an event like this is they always go, but I don't have the time. I don't have the time to go. It's time out of my business. It's time out of my day to day. Like, I don't have the time. What would you say to that?
It's simple. It's make the time. Absolutely make the time, because, you will find something, and even if it's only one thing that you come back with that will either save you time or earn you more money, and put you ahead of your competition. Without doubt, make the time, particularly on these big events.
Yeah, and I would agree with that as well. You get more out of it than you think you will.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just absorbing what's going on around you. And I think some people think being around their competitors isn't a good idea, but there's more work to go. There's more than enough work to go around everybody in whatever industry you're in. And being around your competitors, you can learn so much from other people in your industry. It's not worth working against. It's much better working with. And at these sorts of events, you can certainly learn from other people.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke to competitors, particularly through Heather's group, the Accountants Growth Club. We've spoken to a lot of people within that, and technically we're all competitors, but we shared a lot on that day with people that we knew that I meet up every morning with. And I think that works an absolute treat.
Yeah, and I think so. I think so too. Right, so what do you think makes a really good event to go to? What should people look out for when they're looking for their industry events?
What makes a really good event? I mean, I think we went to two very different events.
We did.
So the Advanced Track event had some really excellent speakers, and I thought was really good. The morning sessions were superb. There's those two marketing ladies from Ireland. They were great.
Yeah.
And the lady from Go Cardless was brilliant as well. Then, you've got to look at your speakers and how they work. That was great. We took a lot away from that. And the guy who did the expositions.
Yes, Ollie France.
Ollie
is his
France.
name.
Yeah, he was unbelievable.
He was also a little bit mad. Like, he'd gone.
Oh, yeah, it's bonkers. Yeah.
He'd look him up and see the exhibitions he's done, because they are crazy, but they are super inspiring and a real show of resilience, I think. Well, not even I think. I know they were a show of resilience. There's no way I would have survived doing what he'd done.
Well, no, because you wouldn't have been able to buy a blister plaster for a start.
No, I think
halfway up the world's tallest mountain.
I think my blister would have been very small in comparison to what he had to go through.
So that was great. And then Accountex being a totally different proposition. What was the question?
What makes a good event?
Oh, in terms of accounting, well organised. I think if we were the first people ever to go to Accountex, we might have walked out with those queues at the start, because they were just awful, weren't they? I mean, these huge queues.
It was madness.
It completely messed it up at Excel. But once you're in, I think the good event was, in fact, there was a lot of good variety of software vendors, etc., and a well-organised program and a very well-structured program. Both the events we went to had good quality apps.
Yes.
And I think that worked well as well. And just you can tell it was a good event as well. There was a lot of people there.
Absolutely. And I think if you're looking at what events to go to in your industry and you're choosing, it is looking for those really well-structured ones, looking at who's going to be there, if there's any software you want to look at, if there's any attendees that you want to meet. I think that's really what you need to be looking at as what's important to you, and then make the decisions on which ones to go to. Like Dad said, we went to two very different events and we got totally different things from them, but we'd go to both of them again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because what we got from them was exactly what we wanted, and one was more inspiring than the other, but the other was great for networking. So
Absolutely.
it is looking at it, seeing what you want, and grabbing from that. Okay, so what? I don't think you're going to relate very much to this question. What do you do if you're a bit of an introvert going to an event like a Countex?
Well, you know me. I sit in the corner and don't speak to anybody.
I told you would not relate to this question at all.
What's an introvert?
So, oh my goodness. What? Are you seriously asking?
No, of course I know what an introvert is.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Well, what should
an introvert do?
Yeah,
Speak to an extrovert.
that's probably a good idea.
Absolutely.
That is a good idea. But
I mean, we had that lady come up to us, didn't we? I mean, I
Yes.
don't know whether she was an extrovert or not, but she did strike a conversation with us.
she did.
And she had basically seen one sort of stayed presentation, didn't she?
Yeah.
And basically it sounded like a traditional accountant, had done the circuit a lot, and she'd learnt nothing. She then saw another stage. There was 4 inspiring, they were female presenters, weren't they?
Yep.
And she said she learnt more in that 10 minutes than the other one. And we were having a good chat about that, and chatting about the speakers, because we knew the speakers that were in front of us, which were the 4 ladies, and that was good. And I think I'd hope that she got a lot from that as well.
Yeah.
And she was just starting her journey in accounting, so it's just an area there. And I don't know whether she was an introvert or not, but
She did say it was very out of her comfort zone to
Well,
be
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And she was all on her own, which I think is a big part of it. If you're all on your own, it's a really scary prospect going
Yeah.
to something like a Countex. Not for you, but for someone who is a bit more of an introvert. And I know myself, I can be a little bit more introverted than Dad. And I think if you are an introvert and you're really scared of going to these events, then take someone with you.
Yeah.
Like, you're always a bit braver if you've got a friend or a family member there. And if not, if you can't find somebody to go with you, just show up and you will be so proud of yourself for just going and soaking up the energy. And if you want to get used to just going out and then going out of your comfort zone and talking to people, speak to the people on the stands, because they will talk to you. And, that's
even
a
give you
really
a
good way
t-shirt, might
to... Yeah, they might give you a t-shirt. I did get a t-shirt from Dext. I was very happy with that. Thank you, Dext.
Mine didn't fit.
Did it not? I'll have that one too. I love getting a t-shirt. It's like a pajama top. Anyways, I think to get out of your comfort zone, just go and jump in feet first and just try it out. So do you think that small businesses benefit more than large businesses at these events?
I think all businesses benefit, to be quite honest. You know, the small businesses are there for a certain reason, and larger businesses maybe for something different. But at the end of the day, I think both style of businesses do well. There's something for everyone at these type of events. We might not look at, for argument's sake, I don't know, some out of this world tax planning, but someone else, larger firm might be looking at that and looking at that resource. However, as a smaller business, and I treat ourselves as smaller, although I don't think we are that small really nowadays. We might want to know that actually we can access that out of this world tax planning person.
Yeah.
Or company.
Yeah, and I think we're also like, people are people and we're always learning, and there's nothing wrong with trying to learn something new, no matter what size of business you're in. Continuous learning is a part of, being any sort of business leader. And contacts, yeah, absolutely.
You might sit in front of your customer or your client and they say, oh, I want to do this. And you go, oh, actually, I know someone that does that. Yeah. And you've made that contact. And probably I would say once you've made the contact, you like the contact, go on LinkedIn, friend them on LinkedIn, and interact.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, so to end this little segment, people want to know whether we think categorically, is it worth businesses going to is it worth businesses going to industry events?
Absolutely.
Yep, and I would absolutely agree as well. I think it is well worth your time. I don't think it's worth going every week, But picking maybe 2 or 3 to go to in the year is well worth it to sort of stay ahead of the curve and really network with your industry.
And you get to go out for dinner.
And I get to go out for dinner, which I love. But also, about that, I put it on my LinkedIn actually. So we went out for dinner. We went for a very nice dinner at Sexy Fish. Try it out. It was some of the best food ever. But it wasn't just good to have the dinner. We sat there and we weren't chatting about like what clothes we're going to wear the next day and stuff like that. We had some really good conversations about our business because we were in a relaxed environment. We'd had the talks earlier in the day. So it was a really nice, relaxed way to talk about what we wanted to do moving forward. And I think that downtime actually inspired me more than perhaps not having that downtime and just working continuously afterwards. And I know I came back on Thursday. I made a 90-day plan of what we're going to do to move the business forward. I don't think I would have done that had we not had that meal out and those conversations, just because it's downtime and it's time to reflect and to think. And I think it's important for businesses to realise that your inspiring moments don't have to be in your office around a boardroom table. It doesn't always happen like that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good 90-day plan. I haven't said that, have I? Please don't tell Jade that it was a good 90-day plan. I think it also involved me playing more golf as well, didn't it? Wasn't that in there?
I don't think that
No,
that
or
was
was it
in
my
there.
interpretation?
I think that was your interpretation. I also didn't give Dad anything to do within the 90-day plan.
Yeah,
Because...
at least you did.
What?
I gave Josh access to 0.
Oh, yeah, I gave
mean-
him one thing to do.
Yeah, and did I do it?
You did, yeah. Well done. Good job.
Okay.
So, yeah. Anyways, on to our unfiltered minute. So, my story is from the event. So, these 2 Irish ladies who are running I think a leadership business. I'm really sorry, I can't remember the name of it. After this podcast, I will put the name in the comments so that people know. But they're from Ireland, and they came up with this activity for everybody to do, and it was a rock, paper, scissors activity.
Was this the activity you didn't understand?
No, shush. So, anyways, we're about to do this activity, and they've said, right, so paper is 5 points, scissors is 3 points, and rock is 1 point. And so they said you need to get the maximum amount of points in your pair, go. So then Dad's all like, well, I want to win, so I'm going to do paper. And I was like, well, I don't want you to win, I want to win.
I said if I win, we will win.
No, that's not what you said. So...
The bloke in the front row said...
No.
row in front of us...
No, he didn't.
He did.
He didn't say that. So Dad's all like, well, I want to win, let me do paper so I can get the 5 points. And I was like, well, no.
It was best of 3.
I'm very competitive and I'm not just going to let him win. So I just made him lose every time. So then we just didn't get any points.
And you really hated it because I was right.
Anyway, at the end, they turned round and said, well, if you worked together and like let one of them win, you'd get the maximum amount of points. And Dad's like, well, that's what I said. And I was like, no. That's not what you said. You said, I want to win. You didn't say, let's work as a team and get the most amount of points. No. And their whole point was that you have to have clarity and communication. And there was no clarity. And Dad's non-stop gone on that he was right and he was wrong. And that's my story.
Well, talk about clarity, because the guy in front, Stephen from Clarity, overheard that conversation and said I was right.
He didn't. You said, I said that, didn't I? And he just agreed with you because he doesn't know you very well and he's not going to disagree with you.
Oh, whatever. I was right.
So, Dad, what's your story for our unfiltered minute?
Well, I think it was quite a nice story. This is a moving story.
A moving story. Oh, warm.
So we put a lot of stuff out with Katie.
Yes.
And as we all know, Katie uses a wheelchair to get around. And I thought it was really nice that our clients and our friends at the Fire Pit Company, who are exhibiting at Chelsea, sent me a little message to say, look at our stand at Chelsea. It's fully accessible. And they'd made little ramps and what have you, just to get people that are using wheelchairs. I just thought it was great. I just thought that what we put out on LinkedIn was being listened to. And I know, and then after that, we heard that Katie had gone to the epicenter where we're going to go, and they'd actually put the post box where we get our post lower down, and that's without Katie asking. And I think that is just a really small touch, just a bit of thought's gone into that, and I think that's excellent. And then when you start looking at things like that, and you see some of the big suppliers who are Accountex, who have got stands with a raised lip on, that not only are we tripping over as able-bodied people, but wheelchair users can't use. So the big firms out there are allowing their stands that they spend thousands on to not be accessible. And I find that wrong. But I think, all credit to the small firms like the Fire Pit Company. Epicenter's not a large business, but it's a decent sized building. They're thinking about it as well. And I think that, from my point of view, great. And good on Jason, Diana, for sending that message. And that made us smile, didn't it?
Yeah, it really did make us smile, because I think we say about these sort of little things. Well, I think businesses think they're little things, but for Katie, they're a huge thing. It means that when she goes to that event, she can't access that part of it. So if it was the Fire Pit Company and they're on a raised thing, Katie wouldn't be able to look. She wouldn't be able to go see it.
She can now.
But she can now, because they've really listened and they've taken action. And I think that's a huge thing as well. It's not doing it wrong in the past, it's the what you do for it now. And I know that also we go to some of the Chamber of Commerce networking events, and me and Katie once had a terrible time. Katie drove, her car's got adaptations in, so I can't drive it easily.
Well, you can't drive anyway.
Oh, I can drive, I just can't, I just don't like it. But I do drive. I can drive. I have a driving license, just putting it out there. Anyways, Katie had driven us to this networking event, and there was no parking, and there certainly was no disabled parking. And it was all on stones to get to the entrance, even if we could park. And we had to turn around and go back, because if I'd have been driving, I might have been able to have dropped Katie off outside and then block somebody in or something. But Katie couldn't risk getting blocked in because she couldn't get in the car. Anyways, when we went and spoke to the Chamber of Commerce about it and said, look, we had to turn around and go home, they have been nothing but accommodating since. They've been amazing since. They've made sure Katie has a space every time she wants to go networking. They've made sure it's safari networking, which means you go around lots of different tables. They've made sure she's either on the same table or very close proximity to the next table. Chairs pulled out. They've made sure she can get to the table first so that she's not trying to get through crowds in a wheelchair. They've been absolutely amazing, but they didn't get it right the first time, but they've listened, taken action, and now, I cannot fault them for the effort that they've put in to make it accessible for Katie and anyone else who could attend in a wheelchair.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. And did you notice at Accountex, and I think this is all part of what Rachel has done, is that there were a lot of people doing sign language at the front.
Yes.
I particularly saw it on the AAT arena. Sign language is being done at the front. I think that's just such a really good move forward. I think that's brilliant. So, yeah, well done, Rachel, for pushing that one as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so we got a question, which I was really happy about, because we've only done the one podcast and we actually got a question. So for this section, we're always going to answer a question that you send in. So please email me a question, or DM us if you've seen this on social media, or I think through WhatsApp you can text me as well. Not WhatsApp, through Spotify. I think you can text me too. So whatever means of communication you can get your question to us, do it. And we will then choose a question to answer live on the podcast. So the question we got was from Mark Wilis from Platform 365. And he said, I couldn't think of anything worse than working day in, day out with my family. I use work as an excuse to escape home life. Paul, what excuse do you use?
I tee off in half an hour. So basically play more golf. That's my excuse. What's yours?
Okay. Well, I thought it was interesting that Mark didn't think that I needed to escape from the family business. Obviously, he thinks I'm the difficult one.
Well, obviously he's not wrong.
He's probably not wrong. But I'm not really sure what I use. I like to go on walks with Django. Django's my dog. And I find going for a walk, especially at lunchtime, I always take my lunch break because I need to go and get some fresh air and go for a walk, and that really makes a difference.
Especially if you spend the morning with me.
Especially if I've spent the morning with you. So yeah, that's my escape, going for my walks with Django. So yeah, thank you very much, Mark, for sending that question in.
Well, a little plug for Mark for sending the question in is that platform based in Canary Wharf look after all our IT systems. So if anyone wants any IT stuff, go and see Mark.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you for listening to Business with the Donos. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, share it with someone who'd love it, or leave us a review. It really, really helps. And we'll be back next week with more stories from business, family, and everything in between.